Canelo, there's a lot of articles and social media news floating around saying that you could potentially be negotiating with Terence Crawford directly for a main fight. Any truth to that?
No, I'm working in other things. Now I'm enjoying my family. I'm not talking about boxing yet. So maybe in January we wanna start doing that.
Where do things stand with Turkey? Turkey said he would like to open a line of communication with you. No middlemen, just you and him.
I never say no to business. So if it is a business for me, I'm open to talk, no matter what.
Anything else for Chula Vista?
No, thank you everybody from Chula Vista. Thank you for your support.
The likelihood of a fight with you and Terence Crawford, it would be one of the biggest in boxing.
We don't talking about yet about the fight. Me and Turkana know each other, and then we wanna see what happens.
And when do you want to get out next? I know you're here in London tonight. When are you going to be in a camp?
Huh?
When are you going to be in a camp? I know you're
in
here.
Camp? Training camp in March.
Okay, so
at the beginning of the middle of the February or March. Yeah.
This announcement has created great excitement among boxing fans since it brings together two of the sport's most used in a major development in the boxing world. Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford have officially agreed to face each other in a super middleweight bout scheduled for September 2025 at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Fighters.
What's up, fight fans? Some breaking news. This guy, Julius Julianis, who's an ESPN Knockouts reporter, is reporting that the fight isn't only about to be announced, but the contracts are signed between none other than Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford. In Julianis' report, he claims that this fight has been signed, sealed, delivered, and it's going down this September in Las Vegas. We know Canelo was in London for the Ring Magazine Awards with Turki Al-Sheikh, seemingly shaking hands as business partners. And just today, as a few hours ago, Bud Crawford landed in London and was seen with Turki Al-Sheikh this September. It's official. What are your thoughts? This headline is all the details the Ring Magazine put out about 2 hours ago. Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford, the fight is off. Guys, are they just messing with us for real? Because this is 48 hours removed from them reporting the location, first ever stadium fight, Allegiant Stadium. Even though the fight was 7 months away in September, this in everybody's eyes was going on. And then all of a sudden, the Ring Magazine, Turki Al-Sheikh, releases this with no other details. Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford in September is off.
The agreement for this well-publicized game came in January 2025, preparing the ground for a legendary meeting. Canelo Alvarez, the undisputed super middleweight champion, boasts an incredible record of 62 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws with 39 victories by knockout his opponent Terence with 41 wins and 31 knockouts. Bud Crawford is the current undisputed welterweight champion. This fight marks his ascent to the super middleweight division, seeking to further cement his reputation by facing Alvarez. Crawford has a spotless record.
All right, let's talk Canelo Crawford, Jake Paul again. Let's try and give a timeline of events. So on Tuesday, Ring Magazine confirmed that Canelo Crawford was on for September 13th, Raiders Stadium. That's what we got on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we started hearing whispers of Jake Paul. It sounded crazy at the time. I did a video on it. I said that's impossible. But then those whispers became louder and louder and louder. On Thursday, Ring Magazine reported that Canelo Crawford was off. Thursday evening, so just after me and G-Man had filmed, we got reports that Jake Paul versus Canelo, or Canelo versus Jake Paul, was very much a real thing and was close to being signed off, and that would have happened on Netflix. About 2 hours later, we got confirmation that Canelo versus Jake Paul is now not a thing and is off, and that Canelo has signed a 4-fight deal with Riyadh Season, and Turkey went on social media talking about he's the lion and don't mess with the lion and things like that, which I thought was quite funny. Canelo versus Crawford is now back on, and that will happen in September. Canelo versus Jake Paul is now off and won't happen for at least another couple of years. Yeah, I think that's where we are.
Recent events have seen Jake Paul object to Canelo Alvarez's signing of a 4-fight contract with Riot Season, which resulted in the cancellation of their forthcoming fight. Paul claimed that Alvarez is now a slave to Riot Season, meaning that financial money incentives affected his choice to avoid more competitive fights. Paul blamed Alvarez of avoiding challenging opponent, including Terence Crawford, due of public pressure.
Oh, Canelo, you puta.
And this fucking YouTuber, I just fight real fighters.
Time to expose him. So we had a signed contract to fight. Here you can see Canelo's signature and my signature to the right. Claiming he's not fighting YouTubers. Bullshit. Look at the poster. We were announcing Tuesday, February 11th. Claiming he fights real fighters, but he's fighting Crawford, a 135-pound fighter, and running from a real fighter like David Benavidez, you bitch. The truth is you can be bought. You're a money-hungry squirrel chasing your next nut. The truth is these sports-washing shady characters are paying you hundreds of millions of dollars to stop our fight from happening because they couldn't fathom the fact that they can't create a bigger fight than me and you. Al Heyman has made you hundreds of millions of dollars and you turned your back on him for this check. Disloyal. And you were begging to do this fight on pay-per-view. But I have loyalty. Loyalty to Netflix, doing the biggest numbers. And you call me a YouTuber, but you've never had a boxing match as big as mine. Remember you told my team that your daughter came home and asked if you were fighting Jake Paul? She was all excited. You said that was the first time your daughter's ever asked you about a fight. And you're screwing over all your Mexican fans by doing your fights in Saudi. It just shows what type of person you are. And I promise you one thing, Canelo. Any fight that you do this year, mine will be bigger. So go fuck off to your boss, you Ring Magazine employee, you pink and orange bitch. And oh, fix that herpes on your lip, you dirty puta.
At a recent live press conference, Canelo Alvarez delivered a stern message to Terence Crawford, underlining his dominance in the super middleweight category. He claimed, "This is my land. Crawford is a terrific boxer, but getting into my class is a different challenge. I'm eager to show why I'm the champion here." Alvarez's confidence emphasizes his willingness to defend his titles against a formidable opponent, moving up in weight class.
How is Crawford going to be able to bridge this weight gap?
Yeah, I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean, he might not be able to bridge it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So
one weight class.
68, yeah, but you're coming up from 35. 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against Canelo Alvarez. Yeah. But you have to use your movement. If you're Terence Crawford in that fight, the last thing you want to do is stand and trade. He'd be moving a lot in that fight, trust me. I'm not saying he'd be running, but he would be moving a lot. Of course, that's the way to beat him.
Yeah.
You know.
Canelo Alvarez, known for his power and tactical versatility, is considered one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Crawford, a 4-division world champion, brings speed, precision, and adaptability to the ring. This clash of styles and skills has fans buzzing with excitement as it promises to be one of the biggest boxing events of the year.
When Terence Crawford said that he moved up and won, and Canelo moved up and lost,
they talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won.
I don't think that was a strong point because Canelo Alvarez actually moved up and won. I mean, he moved up a lot of weight classes, but if you want to talk about light heavyweight, he moved up and he beat Kovalev. Then he moved up again and he lost to Bivol. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, he moves up to 154. He won 115, 113, but it was just an 11-0 Madrimov who didn't really have much of a resume, right? But there's a difference, to be real. I mean, Bivol is a Hall of Fame. Okay, this guy, all-time light heavyweight. This is a bit different. Canelo did knock out Kovalev when he did move up. Okay, and Kovalev is a bigger challenge at light heavyweight than Madrimov at 154 for Terence Crawford. Let's just keep it a bit.
Canelo Alvarez is a formidable power in the super middleweight class with a professional record of 62-2. Canelo has demonstrated his ability to compete at higher weight classes. His strength, agility, and experience make him a tough opponent for anyone. Sean Porter has raised concern on how Crawford will manage Canelo's punching strength. Given Canelo's propensity for landing hard punches, Porter concerns Crawford's capacity to withstand such force, especially considering the jump in weight classes. This fear mirrors the greater apprehension about Crawford's capacity to sustain the physical demands of fighting a naturally larger opponent.
The others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he's still got that kind of steam. But, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out, you know what I mean? So,
former 4-division world champion Mikey Garcia has voiced his views on the forthcoming super middleweight showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Garcia believes that Alvarez's size and power will be important variables in the fight. Garcia commented on his perspective, stating that while Cos boasts outstanding talents, the considerable size disparity could pose an issue. He claimed that Alvarez has been competing at 168 pounds, but Crawford recently stepped up to 154 pounds and experienced some challenges.
I'm not even a fan of that fight. There are too many weight classes apart. And although the skills, Crawford is one of the best fighters that I've seen. Now, Canelo is, fighting at 168. Crawford just moved up to 154, and he had some trouble with that in that fight. Now, where do you plan on going? 164, 65, 66? Canelo ain't gonna come down to 160.
Yeah,
Canelo ain't gonna come down, maybe 166 max if he accepts. I think Canelo wins that fight based on just the size, power and size. Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better skilled fighter, but the difference in size will be the deciding factor, and that's why I'm not even a fan of that fight. I think Crawford has accomplished everything he had to accomplish from 140, 147, now 154. That's even greater for him. He wants to do something, collect belts at 154, he can attempt that. But there's no money in that compared to the Canelo fight. And Canelo is trying to fight other guys, and at that point it's more of a big fight, for the money that's gonna generate. But as a fight fan, I'm not really a fan of that matchmaking. I'd rather see Canelo move up and fight somebody like Bitterbeef or Bivol again. If he wanted to challenge himself, move up to 175 again, and challenge himself against those guys. Not a smaller guy moving up.
Joel Diaz expressed confidence in Canelo's talents to challenge Crawford. Diaz acknowledged Crawford's standing as the pound-for-pound best, but underlined Madry's particular skill set and preparedness for the fight.
A lot of people that say that Crawford can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, I respect that, but I just think they're stupid. I mean, excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. I mean, you saw Canelo Alvarez fighting Amir Khan. Now, look at this. Terence Crawford moved from 47 to 54 to fight Madrimov. What did he do to Madrimov? Nothing. Okay, Madrimov was a 54-pounder. Now, to move up to 168, that's 2 more divisions. Canelo Alvarez will take any punch from Crawford, but I don't think Crawford will take any punches from Canelo. Remember, Canelo got hit by Triple G, the heaviest hitter in that division. And Canelo took those shots like a champ. I don't think Crawford has anything to beat Canelo.
When you say, I want Canelo, is there anybody in the camp that would say, you're not ready for this?
That's a big boy. He's strong. That's a conversation. It's not just, oh man, you will whoop his ass.
Like, yes man type stuff.
I'm not worried about Canelo. I'm not thinking about Canelo. I'm just focused on Israel Madrimov.
In a small way, is this a stepping stone to your dream fight?
I don't look at fights as stepping stones. It's about now.
Former world champion Demetrius Andrade believes that while Crawford is an excellent boxer, Canelo's height and experience at higher weight classes give him the edge. Andrade warns that Crawford would struggle with the power and agility of Canelo. Terence Crawford faces a significant challenge as he prepares to move up 2 weight classes to take on Canelo Alvarez. In his last fight, Crawford competed at 154 lbs, securing a hard-fought decision victory over Israel Madrimov. While he showcased his skill and adaptability at that weight, jumping to the super middleweight division presents an entirely different test. At 168 pounds, Crawford will confront opponents who are not just larger, but also naturally stronger and more accustomed to fighting at that size.
Be great. That'll be 3 times. If you go 154 and win the belt, that's 3 times super. Then I said, chase super greatness. Come on, Canelo. 160.
Well, if he can get in there with Charlo in like his next 2 fights where he still got age on his side, then maybe go up again. Like if he's trying to chase the greatness. But I mean, he already done something that's never been done. Charlo don't want none of that smoke.
Terence Crawford, I see he wants to fight. He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better. No, Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but like I say, he's a weight classes for a reason. I'm focused 100% on Berlanga, and you never know what happened.
Yeah. Unlike his previous bouts, where his speed, precision, and technical prowess gave him the edge, facing a physically dominant fighter like Canelo could neutralize some of those advantages. Canelo's power, durability, and experience in the division add to the challenge, forcing Crawford to adjust both his strategy and conditioning. The leap in weight class will be a defining factor in how Crawford performs against one of boxing's most formidable champions. However, moving up to super middleweight to face Canelo would be a significant leap. The challenges associated with this transition include adjusting to the increased power and physicality of opponents in the higher weight division. While Crawford's technique and skill are exceptional, questions remain about whether his power and durability will translate effectively to super middleweight.
Just a few weeks ago, you heard what Terence "Bud" Crawford had to say on why he wants to take on Saul Canelo Alvarez.
I just want the opportunity, to fight the best fighter in my generation that's out there. He's the most accomplished fighter, and I would just like to, fight another great.
Which is a very noble reason. I mean, it's a reason that I can get behind. If you notice, his primary reason isn't money. He did say it'd be the biggest fight, which, you do want a big fight, but I don't think he meant monetarily, which the money comes, okay? But what he's saying is he want to test himself versus the best. And I think he's telling the truth here, right? Of course you want big money and stuff like that, but I think his swan song is just him test himself up against the very best. Those are the reasons the war room can get behind.
Robert Garcia has also revealed his analysis of the forthcoming fight, leaning towards a Canelo Alvarez victory. Although he hasn't provided an in-depth breakdown, his forecast matches with the popular opinion favoring Canelo. Garcia feels that if Terence Crawford decides to face Canelo Alvarez, it will mostly be motivated by the big payday the bout provides. According to Garcia, Crawford has already accomplished enough in his career, securing his legacy and financial future, and doesn't necessarily need to continue fighting. However, if the fight does happen, Garcia predicts that Crawford will be highly competitive in the early rounds, likely holding his own for the first 6 to 8 rounds. He acknowledges Crawford's superior talent, ring IQ, and strength, which could help him to edge out the early exchanges.
Robert, what's a smart bet on Crawford Canelo? Canelo by knockout or Canelo by decision?
Crawford by decision. And you have to bet?
Yes.
I say Canelo by decision. Crawford by decision. No, but you say Canelo by knockout or Canelo?
Yeah, no, because I'm saying that's what's going to happen. Canelo's going to beat him. But which one?
I don't know, man. Crawford is fucking exactly. I've always been saying, I think Canelo at the end, obviously his strength, his weight,
experience
probably takes over, but shit, I wouldn't be surprised if Crawford just fucking boxes and fights smart and beats him.
He's probably gonna be 40 to 1 underdog or something crazy like that, right? It's not gonna be close.
Oh, it's gonna be close.
3 weight classes?
3, 4 to 1. No crees?
Nah.
It's not gonna be that big of a deal. No.
When you pick the knockout? No. When you pick the knockout?
You pick a knockout. But if it's just
who wins straight out?
I think it's gonna be maybe 3 to 1, 4 to 1. Maybe that's too much. Maybe 2 to 1. Maybe
I don't think so.
I'm telling you.
So they finally announced Ryu's fight, Gary Russell. What do you think? Not easy fight? No easy fights in this level?
That's
It's gonna be finally. You guys will be the first time you ever go in a Tank fight, right? To work a corner.
We're gonna corner a Tank's fight.
It's Tank's the main event. Yeah.
The Alvarez against Crawford battle is primed to be a watershed event in boxing history. Alvarez's expertise and power in the super middleweight category will be challenged against Crawford's agility, technical prowess, and undefeated record. Fans and pundits are excited to witness how Crawford adapts to the higher weight class and how Alvarez handles an opponent of Crawford's caliber.
He's going to be the greatest. You know what I'm saying? Floyd, it was Floyd, and then it's going to be Terence Crawford. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what's on the line with that fight, right? Canelo and Terence is whose era is it? Yeah. Right?
Nah.
I think Canelo had his time.
Yeah, Canelo had his time. Yeah.
Just gonna submit our time.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
What makes Romack such a great trainer?
He can adapt to any style, bro. Like, he can adapt to any style. First of all, DB3, we all got different styles. And he all been making this better in our own style. He got Troy Eisen. Troy Eisen is a different style. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, he got Avius Griffin. Avius Griffin is a different style. Of course, y'all know Jamel Herring and Terence Crawford. All different styles. And he make these fighters great. He can adapt to any style. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes him a great.
Do you agree that Canelo's strength and power will overwhelm Crawford in the latter rounds, or do you believe Crawford's talent and plan can bring him to victory? Drop your opinion in the comments below.